Okay. So previous class we learnt the new topic I started with was calculation of Pearson's correlation of coefficient using assumed mean. So here we will be using assumed mean. So in what scenarios we will be using assumed mean is whenever you get the arithmetic mean in fractions, or whenever you get the arithmetic mean with too much decimals, then in that case you will be using this method to calculate the correlation of coefficient of correlation. And the first formula for that which we saw here, okay, the formula which we saw here was n sigma dx dy minus sigma dx into sigma dy whole divided by square root of n into sigma dx square minus sigma dx whole square, again into n d square root of n dx y square minus dxy whole square. And we saw all these notations, what all they are meant for, and we also saw a few of the steps involved. What is the five major points that, or five major values which we have to calculate. So the first one is summation of dx, then summation of dy, then summation of dx square, summation of dy square, and summation of dx into dy. These are the five major values that we are supposed to calculate, and then we have to apply in the above formula which we saw in the previous slide and calculate the Karl Pearson's coefficient of correlation. So let's start with the first problem and let us understand. From the following data, calculate coefficient of correlation and interpret the value. So we are not only supposed to calculate, but also we are supposed to interpret. Like how we give conclusions for every problem, we are also supposed to give conclusions in this problem also. So they have directly given us x and y values. So x value and y value, let us write this down or copy this down from the question to the solution table. Now in the solution table, the heading is compulsory. So computation of Karl Pearson's coefficient of correlation. So you have to give this heading specifically which coefficient of correlation are we solving. So that is important. Now after that, x values and y values from the question are copied down. Then the first value, the first important value to be calculated or to be computed is summation of dx. Okay, so to find that, we have to find out dx value. Now dx is nothing but x minus a. Okay, x minus a is assumed mean. Now out of these values here, we are supposed to take one of the value as assumed mean. Now we'll just take the central value as assumed mean. So if you see in this data, we have 4 values to one side, 4 values to the other side, and they have taken 44 as assumed mean. So for x, we have taken 44 as assumed mean. Now let's go on and do the deviation part. 38 minus 44 minus 6, 40 minus 44 minus 4, 42 minus 44 minus 2, and so on. So you have to calculate all the values of dx, that is x minus assumed mean, and add them up. Once you add them up, then you will get summation dx, which is equal to 1. Summation dx, which is equal to 1. Then after this, the next one is you are supposed to calculate dy, that is y minus 14, which is again nothing but y minus a. Okay, so again here we have to take the assumed mean, and let us consider the central value or the center value. Again, you have 4 numbers to one side and 4 numbers to the other side. So we consider 14 as assumed mean. You can take any number from this, but the central value will make more sense and it will not confuse while solving the problems in the examination. So we'll find dy, that is y minus 14. So that is 10 minus 14 is 4, 21 minus 14 is 7, 15 minus 14 is 1, 12 minus 14 is minus 2, and so on. Now once you calculate all the deviations, you have to add them up. And be careful while adding, because you have minus and plus values mixed up here. You get sigma dy is equal to 6. Okay, next. Now, first two important values we found out. See, sigma dx is over, sigma dy is also over. Now, our next important values are sigma dx square and sigma dy square, which is nothing but you just have to square these values here. Okay, so let's go back to the problem. Now, squaring the values, you have to square this value, that is this whole column is supposed to be squared up, and you get sigma dx square. And again, when you square up these complete column, you get sigma dy square. So once you find out sigma dx square, that is minus 6 into minus 6, minus 4 into minus 4, minus 2 into minus 2, and so on, you get 6 6 are 36, and minus into minus is plus. 4 4s are 16, minus into minus is plus. Minus 2 into minus 2 is plus 4. Okay, like that you calculate the squares. Again, for dy square, minus 4 into minus 4 is plus 16. 7 7s are 49. 1 into 1 is 1. Minus 2 into minus 2 is 4. And so on, you will calculate the squares. So after calculating the squares of dx and dy, add them up. Once you add all of these values, you get the next important value for the formula, that is summation of dx square. And if you add this column here, you get summation of dy square. So that will give us 4 important values from the problem. Now next, after that, the last and final important value we have to find here is sigma or summation of dx dy. Now come back to the same column of dx dy here and multiply them. So you are supposed to multiply. I'll choose a different color for you to understand. Okay, you're supposed to multiply dx and dy. Okay, so you will be multiplying these two columns here. So which will be minus 6 into minus 4, 24. Minus 4 into 7, minus 28. Again, be careful with the signs. Minus 2 into minus 1 is minus 2. 0 into minus 2 is 0. 0 into 0 is 0. And so on. So you will get all these values when you multiply dx into dy. Add them up, you get the final important value sigma dx dy, which is equal to 23. Okay, so this is your table calculation. Any doubts in the table calculation? Okay, so let's go to the formula. Now, the formula is square root r is equal to n into sigma dx dy. One second. So formula goes like this: r is equal to n into sigma dx dy minus summation dx summation d into summation dy whole divided by square root of n into summation dx square minus summation dx whole square into square root of n into summation dy square minus summation dy whole square. This looks complicated, but when you solve the problem and calculate all the data, then it is very easy to solve. Now, we have found all the important values. Let us just see the values there and apply them in the formula. So, first value that we require is sigma dx dy. So, just a second. Please do not unnote. Okay, going back to the table here. So that first value that we require is 23. Okay, then sigma dx is 1, sigma dy is 6, sigma dx square is 113, and sigma dy square is 112. So familiar with the numbers? Once again, sigma dx dy is 23, sigma dx is 1, sigma dy is 6, sigma dx square is 113, sigma dy square is 112. Now let's apply everything into the formula. Now sigma dx dy is, first we have n. Okay, we should not forget this part. So n is the number of data that we have. So if we start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9 data given to us. So n is equal to 9. So n is equal to 9. 9 into sigma dx dy is 23 minus sigma dx is 1. Sigma dy is 6. So if you see here, that is what is the values we have. 1, 6. Next, whole divided by square root of n is 9 again. Sigma dx square is 113 minus sigma dx is 1, which we already wrote here. Okay, 1 square, 1 whole square. Don't directly square it. Okay, 1 whole square. Then square root of 9, 9 is again n. So n into sigma dy square is 112 minus sigma dy whole square. So sigma dy is 6 whole square. Next, 9 into 23 is 207. 6 into 1 is 6. Coming to the denominator, 9 into 113, 1017. That is 1017. And 1 square is 1, obviously. Next, the second square root, 9 into 112 is 1008. Minus 6 square is 36. 6 6 are 36. Okay, so that is this step. Next step, 207 minus 6 will give you 201. Okay, so 207 minus 6 is 201. Next, 1017 minus 1 is 1016. 1008, 1008 minus 36 is 972. So this is the final values that we have got. Next, now here many students who make the mistake is they directly multiply the values here. They directly multiply the values with the square roots. Don't do that. Okay, so you will have to take 201 directly. Okay, you have to take 201 here and find out the square root of this first. So square root of 1016 will be 31.8747. Square root of 972 is 31.177. So this will be the square root values. Now you will have to multiply the denominator values. That will be 31.8747 into 31.177 will give you 993.7575, and the numerator will be 201 as it is. Now when you divide these values, you get 0.2022. So we have found out the correlation coefficient. The main thing what they have asked us is you have to calculate coefficient of correlation and also interpret. Now interpretation will come using our normal ways. So let us interpret the data or interpret the coefficient here. So this will be +1, -1, and the central value is 0. Now since this is on the positive side, we have two major points to note: 0.25 and 0.75. Okay, now where does this value come? So this value will come 0.2022. So it is before 0.25. So we can say this come in the bandwidth of 0 to 0.25. It will come in this bandwidth, right? So which means in this place it is a low degree of correlation. So you can interpret saying there is low degree positive correlation because this is positive number, low degree positive correlation between variables X and Y. Okay, mention that between X and Y. Okay, so this was your first problem under assumed mean. Any doubt in the first problem? Any part of calculation you want me to repeat it again? Okay, now let's go to the next problem. Now this is also a similar problem like before. Okay, so here you have cost and sales. Okay, this problem I want you people to solve it. I'll just explain through the problem until interpretation, but workings you have to do and let me know. Okay, so here also they're asking us to calculate coefficient of correlation, and the cost and sales are given. So we have to find out how these two are interrelated by using correlation. So X and Y values directly from the question. So the first important value to find out is summation of dx. Okay, summation of dx, how do you find dx is x minus a, and assumed mean, a is assumed mean. Assumed mean can be considered from the x value. Again here they have considered 65. As I told you, any value from x can be considered as assumed mean. You can also take the central value. Let's see how many values we get. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 we have. So we'll take the fifth value. If you want, you can take 82 as assumed mean and you can calculate. You will still end up with the same answer. Okay, the same thing happens with y. Again they have taken 58. See, if you see here they have taken 65 as assumed mean, and here they have taken 58 as assumed mean. There is no hard and fast rule to take the central value only. Central value is taken for easy understanding of everybody, and it is easy to solve also. So we will find the deviations for both x and y. Then we are supposed to square these deviations. Don't go and square x and y. You're supposed to square these deviations only. So square the deviations, you get dx square and dy square. Again, the last important value to find out is dx into dy. So multiply these two columns and you get the final important value. So let's see the total of all the final important values. Sigma dx is equal to 0, sigma dy is equal to 80, sigma dx square is 5389, sigma dy square is 2864, and dx dy is 2704. So we have all these values ready with us. So let us go on and put this in the formula. The formula again, be careful with the formula. Do not get confused and memorize the formula. You can actually understand the formula and remember rather than memorizing it. So n into sigma dx dy. So n value was 10. Okay, the value of n was 10. So 10 into dx dy is 2704. Minus sigma dx is 0, sigma dy is 80. Then coming below, you again have square root of 10. N is 10. Okay, the value of n is 10. So sigma dx square is 5389 minus dx is 0. So 0 square. Then square root of n is again 10. Sigma dy square is 2868 minus dy is 80 and whole square. Again 0 into 80 is 0. 0 that is here. Okay, and 0 square is also 0. So now we have got the major numbers. Simplify them and get the correlation coefficient value, that is r is equal to 0.7810. Now let us interpret this. Again plus 1, minus 1, 0. So the major bandwidth is 0.25 and 0.75. Now where is the values? 0.78 it is. So which means these values are on after 0.75. So these values are between +1 and 0.75, which means it has highest degree of correlation. And since this number is positive, so you will have high degree positive correlation between the two variables x and y. Now what are the x and y? The x is cost, y is sales. So this is high degree positive correlation between cost and sales. Any doubts in this problem? Can we go on further? Okay. Now let's go to the next problem. Now the next problem, from the given data, one second, from the data given in the following table, find correlation coefficient between age and playing habits of students. Now you have to read this question very carefully before solving. So it is asking us to find correlation coefficient, that is well known, between what? Age and playing habits. So it's clearly given playing habits of students. And if you see the data below, age is given, so that is one of the criteria. Now coming to playing habits, we have two data given, that is number of students and regular players. So what we have to do is, what they have given to us is, in a class, if there are 250 students in the age of 15, regularly who play are 200 students, and rest of them they will not play. That is what is the understanding. So number of students is given to us, regular players are given to us, but they have not completely or directly given us the data of playing habits of students, what is required us to calculate. So what we have to do here is, let us assume x for age. Okay, now for y we are supposed to define the values using this two data, number of students and regular players. We are going to define the values for y. So let's see the note given here. Here we are asked to calculate correlation coefficient between age and playing habits of students. We are given age that can be taken as x variable, and we have to compute the rate of players out of total number of students to relate with the age. So with these two data what is given to us, we are going to find out how many people have playing habits. They're only talking about playing habits. So if you see the difference here, the other 50 students does not have playing habits. Other 50 students here also don't have playing habits. So we will leave them. So we will only take the data of how many percentage or what is the ratio of people who play. Then the rate can be taken as y variable. Once we use this and solve, that values can be taken as y variable. So you have to find the ratio of regular players out of total number of students in computed in percentage. So we will be computing percentage for this, which is very, very easy. Now out of 250 students in the class, if 200 are regular players, it means that I have to calculate a percentage. Now let us see. They've given the formula here. This formula is a very simple formula to calculate percentage. Okay, we also do this with our subjects. Now for the age of 15, okay, first one for the age of 15, out of 250 people in the class, 200 of them are playing. So I take 200 divided by 250 into 100. So that will give me 80% of the students in the age 15 will regularly play. Now, why did I say this is very similar to your test marks? Now, out of 15 marks, if I keep a test and you score 10 marks, how do you find the percentage? Multiply this with 100. You will get the percentage. So what is the total marks and how much you have scored? Same formula we are using here. Out of total class in the total number of students in the class, how many of them are playing. Okay, so that is the calculation. Similarly, now let us calculate for age 16. Now for age 16, what is the total number of students? 150. Now out of 200 in the class, out of which 150 are regular players. So out of 200 in class, 150 are players, percentage is 75%. Then for the age 17, same formula. So out of 150 students in class, 90 are players, so 60% of the class. Then for age 18, 120, sorry, there is some mistake here. Just calculate and check which is the correct answer. If I have to take 120 or 48, just hold on. I think I have to take, so 48. Okay, that is 120. It's not 129. There is some typing mistake here. So make this as 120. So 48 by 120 will be 40%. So at the age of 18, 40% of the students out of 120 are regular players. At the age of 19, same calculation, out of 100, 30 are playing, so 30%. At the age of 20, it is 15%. Okay, now as you can see, as the age increases, the percentage of players are decreasing. Okay, now did you all understand until here? Any doubts in how to calculate the ratio? You want me to repeat any part of it once again? Okay, understood. Fine, let's continue. So we had considered age as X. Now we have already found out these percentages and these values will be Y. Okay, so regular players, the percentage of these regular players will be Y. Now let us put everything into the table with the heading computation of Karl-Pearson's coefficient, correlation coefficient. Now X was all of the age from 15 to 20. Age is X. Okay, this is the age factor. Now later, what all percentages we found out: 80% for 15 years, 75% for 16 years, 60% for 17 years, that we have considered it as Y here. Okay, so next, after this, the procedure remains same. You have to take an assumed mean. Now here they have considered the first number itself as assumed mean. Okay, again you can take any other number also. It's again I'm repeating, it's not a hard and fast rule to take the first number or the central number. You can take any number, but take it out of X only. So to find deviations for X, you have to take select the number from here. So dx X minus 15, and you get all these values. So summation dx is 15. Next, for dy, the value which they have considered, okay, they've considered some value out of nowhere. Okay, just hold on a second. Okay, this value is not 50. They have, I think they were supposed to consider 80. Okay, 50 is not the value here. Okay, do not consider 50 because you don't have 50 at all here. You can take any other number. You can take 80 or you can take 40 and you can calculate. There's some typing mistake from the textbook. Just solve this problem and we will solve it together or discuss it together in the next class. So here you can, let's say we will take 80. Okay, we will take 80. So it will start from 0. Then you will have minus 5. Then you will have minus 20. Okay, 40 minus 80 is minus 40 again. And then 30 minus 80. minus 50, then 15 minus 80, again you will get the values. Now you will have to go on and square these values and find dx dy and give me calculate or take the all of these totals and put it in the formula. Now since this assumed mean is wrongly taken, the whole calculation will go wrong. Okay, we will just solve this problem once again in the next class for you to understand the proper answer. That is all. But apart from that, the ways used or the steps used to solve the problem remain same. And coming to the calculation part of the formula remains same as it is, and we will be taking or we will be using the conclusion also. The same interpretation method which we use always, we use that and we will conclude it. Okay, will you give it a try? Will you try solving this problem? Okay, just give it a try. We will discuss the problem once again in the next class. Okay, now we'll go to the next problem. This is a very simple problem here. They have given us all the data. We just have to see what data is required to be used to solve the problem. From the data given, we have to calculate correlation of coefficient between series X and series Y. So there are two series, series X and series Y. So what all they have given? Number of observations. So number of observations are N. Okay, number of observations are N, that is 15 for both of them. Next, arithmetic mean. Okay, so they've given us the mean here. So X bar of X is 25 and Y bar, this is Y bar. Okay, so this is X bar and that is Y bar. So that is also given to us, 25 and 18. Next, standard deviation. So standard deviation, okay, standard deviation of X series, standard deviation of Y series. Next, sum of squares of deviation from mean. Okay, sum of squares of deviations. Now deviations, if you remember in the previous to previous, the first set of problems we did, the small x which we found out, that is x minus x bar. Okay, that is the deviations. Now deviation square means x square. So that is what is this? Square of deviations from mean. So deviation from mean is x minus x bar. Square of deviation is x square. Okay, now sum of this means summation x square. Okay, so summation x square is 135 and summation y square is 138. So next, summation of product of deviation of x and y series from their respective means. Now summation of, you leave this out, let's understand from here. Product of deviation of x and y. Now deviation from x and y is sigma x, or we can consider it as x directly, the small x. Okay, x and y. Now suppose if we multiply x and y, okay, suppose we multiply x and y, that is product of deviations. Now summation of product of deviations will be, summation is sigma. So sigma xy. So this 122, what is given to us is sigma xy. You just have to analyze the given data to us. Here they have given it in words. So they have given us n, they have given arithmetic mean, they have given standard deviation, then sum of squares of deviation from mean, which is nothing but sigma x square, sigma y square. Then they have given us product of deviation of x and y from the respective means, that is nothing but x sigma x into sigma y. So that is sigma xy. So here below they have given us all this data is again rewritten here. So n is equal to 15. sigma xy is 122. Then standard deviation of x is 3.01. Standard deviation of y is 3.03. Next, x bar is 25, y bar is 18, x square is 135, y square is 138. Now, our original formula to calculate correlation of coefficient is sigma xy divided by n into standard deviation of x into standard deviation of y. This is the original formula. But from starting, we are using this formula here. That is sigma xy by square root of sigma x square into sigma y square. So we will stick on to this formula only because we have all the relevant data. So let us go with this formula. Sigma xy is 122. So that we can write it here. Then square root of sigma x square is 135. Sigma y square is 138. Now 122 divided by square root of 18,630. Now find the square root of this. That will be 136.59. So 122 by 136.59, you will get a R value of 0.8938. Now once you get the correlation of coefficient, you will have to do the interpretation. Now if you see, it is positive and it is more than 0.75. Okay, it is more than 0.75, which means it has high degree of correlation. So this observation, that is series X and series Y, has high degree positive correlation between them. Okay, so this is the simple answer. They can ask this for 6 marks. You can use formula 1. You can use this formula 1 because you have data for that also, or you can use this formula 2. Both the ways you can solve this problem. Okay, so any doubt in this problem? Did you all understand? Okay. Yeah. So we'll stop here for today. We'll continue tomorrow with the previous problem. First we will discuss and then we will continue with the other problems. Okay, you also try solving it and we'll discuss the answer tomorrow. Okay, thank you class.